Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in to see this awesome review of a genuine warfighter's knife. This is a Army Ranger's knife I made for him, and he's had it for 5 years of hard military use. He's used it in the Middle East, and he's had it through the following schools. I had to write them down because there were so many. Ranger School, Sniper School, Reconnaissance Surveillance School, Jungle Operations Training, and his SEER School. This knife has seen him through all those things, plus military deployment, hard military use for 5 years, as I already said. What is it that has made this knife the choice of a U.S. Army Ranger for 5 years? Well, I'll talk to you about it. We're gonna get into it and see what makes this knife so special. And this is a Mars Fire original. I designed this knife. It is not one of the traditional designs that I've been doing lately. So let's look at this knife, see what makes it tick, what made it so valuable to this Army Ranger, and just admire the knife together. Take a look. So this knife comes in at 6.6 ounces. It has a 4-inch blade and about a 4-inch handle, giving it a nice 8 inches overall. So it's easy to wear on the kit, easy to have on the LBE, easy to integrate into a military system, and yet it's still capable because of its overall design. I want to draw your attention to the edge here. First of all, we have some serrations, which are good for starting cuts on abrasive and difficult to cut material. The edge is very flat. So during this time of my knife making journey, I really enjoyed the Sachs knife, the flat, straight, but slightly curved edge of the Sachs. And you can see that was integrated here. So overall, yes, it does curve, but again, very slightly. That is extremely helpful for cuts. When you want to get a lot of blade onto any flat surface, you can do that. So, you know, this is a military knife, but if you're talking kitchen knife, this is great for that sort of thing. Any sort of cutting task where you want to engage a material with a large amount of the knife onto a flat surface, that's great. So all sorts of utility cutting, this is very good for. The other thing a flat edge does is you get a ton of cutting force here at the tip. Most knives, as you're cutting through something, that belly is curved like this, and you'll slide right past the belly. The belly portion will be almost useless. But when you have a knife of this shape, you get full cutting power straight out to the belly. So I'm cutting, and I still get lots and lots and lots of pressure, even out to the tip, because it's not curving away from the edge. So when you compare this to something like the Essie, which will slide past the edge at the end, or a Becker, which will slide past at the end, this knife will not slide past. You go all the way up to the tip, and even with just that much overlap, you get right through it. Now, I hit the camera, and this is just part of what it's like to have to film like this. But there you go. It cuts through that rope, even with just a little bit touching. Let me start a little further back. Let me cement my hand down so we can see it again without causing such destruction. And there it is, right through. So you get lots of cutting power towards the tip when you have a flat edge like that. Low-lying point without a lot of belly also gives you a lot of access to the tip. So you can use the tip for all sorts of fine cutting. This is good for, precision cuts, cutting tape, any sort of medical cutting. You need to go through and pry through a zip tie, stuff like that. You get a lot of use out of your tip when it's low lying like this with a flat edge. Again, not so with something like this with a big belly. Then you've almost got to reverse and hold it at a strange angle to use the tip of the knife. So see how this is now becoming very awkward and difficult to use the tip of the knife. Whereas with this, it's handy, it's right there, it's very simple to use. So you also have the advantages of being able to use the tip more versatilely when you have a low-lying edge or a low-lying tip and a flat edge such as this. Okay, notice the top profile. What's going on here is we have a fairly consistent curve from the top down to the edge. Wide and goes to thinner, but it's not straight and it's not clipped like a Bowie knife. It's just a curve down. Why do I do that? Because that maintains a decent width in the knife and you want width for cutting power, you want width for the ability to make nice, long, clean cuts like this. It maintains width, but of course the knife has to narrow up towards the front. So it's a good way to do that. It's a good compromise between something that's stabby, pokey enough, but also wide enough to do a lot of good utility cutting. Especially right here, it curves down towards the tip. You know, a Bowie knife goes down and curves up, or you give a straight clip, but this tapers down. That gives you more support behind the edge of the tip. So I can have a really nice taper here, like I do, and have a fine tip on the knife, but it can be used very heavily. It can be batoned, it can pry, it can do all sorts of abusive tasks because of the profile of the knife. We've got multiple things going on here. There's the profile of the knife, there's the taper of the knife, and then of course there's the edge geometry of the knife, which is convex. All those things come together in this design to make it useful and efficient. Sturdy and durable, but also a very fine and nice cutter that can do kitchen tasks, bushcraft tasks, utility tasks, but can still rise to the occasion of the heavy abuse that, well, you need a knife to be able to do when it's in a military context. Another thing I often say, but I need to say it all the time, is that the spine thickness needs to be reduced as the profile thickness is reduced in order to maintain a consistent cutting angle, because it's this shallow cutting angle which makes your knife cut well. So let me illustrate that. This is 3 inches. Let's say the knife is 3 inches wide, and this is how wide the spine is. Then as I come down, I can have a very nice shallow cutting angle. This will cut into material well. But let's say I didn't reduce the thickness of the spine at all, and now I have a less thick profile. Well, now if I do the same thing, look at this. Look how that angle is wider, see? So if we turn it this sideways, this is like what it looks here. This is like what it would look here, unless I reduce that thickness of the spine. So now we'll do the same thing again. Instead of being this thick, let's just say the spine is this thick. Now, in that same width, I can have a nice sharp cutting angle. So the thickness of the spine here needs to be reduced as the width of the profile is reduced in order to keep a nice sharp cutting angle. You can be thicker here because it's wider, so you can get away with that and remain nice and aggressive, but it's not as wide here, so we need to get thinner in order to keep it like that. That's how you get a knife where you can go all the way to the tip and cut nicely like this. So good tapered spine is going to be cutting like this, and a spine without a good taper is going to be cutting like this. Why? Look how thick that is. How's that supposed to cut? That's how it should be. And again, this is maximum durability as well. Let's move back to the handle here. So I've got a lot of jimping for retention. There's no guard, so we need a lot of jimping. So right in there, right in there, right in there, and a heavily scalloped handle. Notice the way this is designed. I've got this thumb choil in here. I used to do this all the time. I'm gonna start doing it again. This thumb choil comes up and then a nice drop down. No hump in the middle, just one indent and two. That is super comfortable. I love that grip design. I forgot I used to do that. I'm gonna start doing it again because it just really fits the hand well. You don't really need that big hump in the middle. This locks in better and feels more comfortable. Look how the thumb just naturally rests right there. I mean, it's perfect. When this little ridge here starts back and ends up there, and it's compounded with the choil down here, that ends up being a perfect grip. So you can put more force into it if you want, or just hammer grip it. It's great in reverse as well, because the meat of the hand goes up into that portion. If you have a guard, it really it cuts into your hand there. So this is a very comfortable handle design. Notice it's deeply scalloped micarta there. And that, he said, that has worked really well for retention with him in all sorts of environments. So there's your handle. Not as much of a distal taper as I do nowadays. That's probably one thing I would do to reduce the weight of this now. But overall, there it is. There's the knife that saw one of our United States Army Rangers through 5 years of service, and it's going to be many more as well. Let's do a few cutting demonstrations with it. I've got other videos talking about the superiority of the convex edge design, but it's a very fine, very keen edge design, and it can cut hemp rope like this 1 inch just so easily. It's very durable, but it can slice and cut deep into things like this through material like I'm wearing, or we're talking about a potentially marshaled context here. So the convex edge design really is the way to go. It's how I do all my knives, and it's how I did this knife back in the day. Some of the superior cutting power you could just see right there. Okay, what about combative context? Well, we're talking, this is the range in which a knife is an effective tool, right? Even if I'm not back here, then here's the effective tool. But if I'm right here, this is knife territory. So how does this do here? It does very well in reverse grip and in forward grip. Block those limbs up into those arteries, right? Here, and then reverse, here, like this stuff here. So this works well here. It moves nicely in these close contexts, doesn't it? That's what it's for. It's on the LBE, and it's for when you're right up here, this close, fumbling, maybe this gets fouled, this comes out, and there it goes, right there, like this, things like this. So this is a good range for this knife to be employed at. And this is just what you want, right? It's all that you need and no more. So you don't need the big bowie knife out here, you know, stuff like this. You're right in here, and that's when you need this type of edge. So doesn't have to be a big Rambo knife to be a effective combat knife. And again, it's been proven with this knife. Check out how it slices, how finely it slices this cedar. It's like taking off slabs of steak or butter. That's what it's like cutting with this. You can just see it effortlessly gliding through. You can do fine cuts. And you can do deep cuts. You get to control the whole thing because of that nice convex edge. Awesome. While the camera's down here, let's look at this sheath. So you can see it is a Kydex sheath. You can hear that it's a Kydex sheath, but you will see that it is leather in form. It is a leather Kydex hybrid. So you have all the retention of Kydex, but you've got the comfort and the look of leather. It's set up for a scout style configuration, so it carries sideways on the belt, but that can be fully modified because these are held in with Chicago screws. So you remove these and you've just got your basic sheath right there. I also have an adapter to where this snap can be done away with, and you put this one there instead, which comes with a retention device. So you can actually have a second form of retention holding this knife in place. So if our ranger's gonna go jumping or parachuting or something like that, then just easily replace this strap with this strap and get that retention going, and now this knife can not even shake loose. So this is a nice sheath. Let me just do a quick little close-up pan of it because I think it deserves it. It took a lot of time and it looks really nice. So check this out. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. Again, if you want a knife like this, all you have to do is go to marsfireforge.com, put in a custom order. I can make you one of these starting as soon as I can start. There's also some knives that are already available. They're already made. So go to marsfireforge.com to order a custom knife, to pick up a knife that's already there, and just see more about me there. You can also just text me, and by that I mean email me at marsfireforge@gmail.com. Hey, I saw that one video, I want one of those knives. And I text you or email you back, great, I'm gonna start making it for you. And there you go. Knife like this is going to be $375 if it's this specific knife, and then that would be a standard Kydex sheath. If it's a crazy cool sheath like this, that's gonna add to the price. So also take a look at my Instagram. It's Mars Fire Forge on Instagram. You see various pictures up there of this knife and other knives I've done. Look to the Instagram. Hey Sean, you made a knife back in 2019. It looked like this. Yeah, I know that one. I can make it for you. It's that easy. It's fully custom. We'll get you your handle you want, taper, edge. I kind of work with the guys who want to get knives from me on every little aspect, and it's all made right here, and you'll probably end up seeing a video of it. So contact me if you'd like to. Please like the video, please subscribe, please comment. Do all you have to do to kind of keep it all stirred up so YouTube keeps sending it out and people keep seeing it, because it just seems like the more activity is happening here, the more YouTube promotes it, the more people end up seeing it, and the more happy customers we end up having. So thanks so much for watching, guys. The Ranger knife, Army Ranger, really excited about that. Tune in next time, and we'll do some more knife stuff over here.